let's start explaining the 5 steps model briefly, and then we are going to go in more details for each step. The 5-step model starts with step number 1, which is defining and identifying the contract between the two parts, the company and the customer. Step number 2 is to determine and identify the performance obligations that are identified in the contract. How many performance obligations? Step number 3 is to determine the contract price. So we need to determine the contract price. Step number 4 is to allocate this contract price that we determined in step number 3 over the performance obligations that we determined in step number 2. So in step number 4, allocate the price over the performance obligations. In step number 5, we need to recognize revenue for each performance obligation once it is delivered to the customer. This is very brief explanation for the 5 steps model. Let's go now for more details for each step. Let's start with step number 1, which is defining the contract. A contract is a contractual agreement between two parts, the company and the customer. This contractual agreement can be oral and can be written. Both of them agreed to deliver something to the other party. The company is going to deliver the goods and service to the customer, and the customer is going to pay to the company the consideration related to this goods and service, the price related to this product and service. This contractual agreement can be written and can be oral. Some countries allow for these oral contracts. The laws and regulations there allows for that. Okay, so this contract must have some conditions according to IFRS 15. If one of these conditions is missed, so actually this will not be a contract under IFRS 15, and the company cannot continue in the other steps of the model and cannot recognize revenue accordingly. So all of these conditions must be met and must be available in the contracts. Any one of these conditions is going to be missed, so this will not be a contract, and you cannot continue in the other steps of the model, and you cannot recognize revenue at that time. Okay, what are these conditions? The first one is related that both of the parties must approve the contracts. So the contract must be approved by the two parts. This must be signed. Everyone agree on everything included in the contract. And both of the parties are committed to perform according to the contract. So the company is committed to perform and to deliver the service and the product to the customer. And the customer is committed to pay to the company the price of these products and services. So this is the condition, the first condition. The second condition is the right of both of the parts must be clearly identified. So everyone knows the rights and agreed on this right. So the company will deliver the product and receive the price. And the customer, his right is to receive the product and the services. So the rights are clearly identified. So when it goes to the court, for example, the company will claim the right must be clearly identified in the contract. Condition number 3 is related to that the payment terms in the contract must be clearly identified. Payment terms such as cash in advance, cash on delivery, after delivery, 20% cash and 80% is credit for how long time, credit for 60 days, 80 days, 90 days. So we need to determine the payment terms, and these payment terms must be clearly stated in the contract. Condition number 4, that the contract must have a commercial substance on both parts. Let's take an example. The company is going to receive cash. This cash is going to impact the cash position, and the company is going to recognize revenue. So the financial performance of the company will be impacted. This is the meaning of the commercial substance. And on the other side as well, the customer is going to pay cash. So their financial position and the cash position will be impacted. That's the meaning of commercial substance. And this is one of the examples of the commercial substance. The last condition is very important. It's related to the collectibility of the amount. If the company sell to a customer, and the company has a doubt at the first day of the transaction, that the customer may not be able to pay them the price. So here you missed the collectibility of the contract. The company is going to deliver the product, but it's not sure. that the customer is going to pay the company. So the collectibility is not there. The collectibility is not available in the contract. So it is not a contract. The company cannot recognize revenue for something it's not sure to collect it from the customer. So the missing, if the company missing one of these conditions in the contract, so it is not a contract, and the company will not be able to continue in the remaining steps of the model, and the company cannot recognize revenue for this contract.